Hi yogis, I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to talk about our next module, which is Yoga for Arthritis. And your reference book is Yoga for Arthritis by Lauren Fishman. And this is a really great resource. Arthritis is something that we all will probably get in some stage in our life. And so it's a great idea for us as teachers and healers to understand what it is and what we can do for it. So I'm just going to start off with the introduction, a little bit of a piece of the introduction that I found that was so wonderful, and I'll share this with you. Remember that we're going to go through this in the module as well. These lectures are for you for reference. Doesn't mean you can't come to class and practice with me. These are references for you. But here she says, serendipitously or not, arthritis and yoga fit. The lock and the key, the illness and the antidote. Arthritis restricts movement. Yoga increases range of motion. These two were made for each other. The inevitable pounding, flexing, and grinding the human body experiences during life have pressured it to evolve many anatomical cushions, but alas, they too inevitably suffer from life's buffering. The incessant minor traumas add up, damaging the cushioning apparatus and eventually the structures they protect, increasing pain and instability, and reducing flexibility at the only places we can bend, our joints. Yoga has been shown to improve the microenvironment of the cartilage and elastic parts of the joint and add no trauma. And for thousands of years it has been known to increase flexibility. I think that's just a wonderful introduction to the fact that we're learning something and a modality that we can actually help someone feel better and decrease a little bit of that inflammation that happens. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about what is arthritis. Age is not a disease. It is a state to which most of us aspire. But advancing years do not come without a price. For many of us, one price of a long life is osteoarthritis, a painful and often debilitating condition caused by decades of wear and tear on the joint. In fact, by the time we reach age 65, knee x-rays for at least a third of us will show some signs of osteoarthritis. The most common of these are just simply referred to as arthritis. Literally translated, joint inflammation, arthritis in its many forms affects more than 70 million, that's 1 in 3 Americans, according to estimates by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. Arthritis is the leading cause of disability in this country, limiting everyday activities for more than 7 million adults. Although the specifics of the different types of arthritis vary, they have a common thread. All affect the joints. Those nearly 150 ingenious and essential structures located where 2 or more bones come together. With a few exceptions, these joints, working properly, are easily movable, allowing us to bend, to flex, to sit, to grasp, to open and close our mouths, to lift, to turn, to get out of bed, to walk, to run, wherever and do whatever we need to do. Healthy joints, articular cartilage, is a tough, shock-absorbing padding with a slick surface. It enables the ends of the bone to glide effortlessly past each other. This gliding is facilitated by a viscous lubricating fluid called synovial fluid, which is secreted by a thin membrane, the synovium, that lines the joint. Bones are held together by the joint by strong, inelastic bands of tissue called ligaments that help keep the joint aligned. Tough cords of tissue, the tendons, connect muscle to bone. Muscles work in opposing pairs to bend and straighten joints. While muscles are not technically part of a joint, they are important because strong muscles help support and protect joints and cause bones to move. Outside the joint, fluid-filled sacs called bursa cushion and safely separate the bones and tendons around the joint, enabling them to move smoothly and freely. What is osteoarthritis? Osteoarthritis can be the result of so many different factors that it might often appear to have no indefinable cause. In a way, that is why people mean when they say it's due to wear and tear. They mean that just living will lead to osteoarthritis. We have already mentioned trauma and overuse as special cases where a cause can be identified. Deficiencies in the chemical structures that make up the cushions are another special cause. Many other genetic, hormonal, environmental factors are also relevant. Whereas osteoarthritis usually develops over time from the processes of wear and tear, factors such as severe injury to the joint that damages the cartilage or throws off the alignment of the bones can cause cartilage to wear unevenly and start the osteoarthritis process earlier. Also, research has shown that some people have inherited defects in joint cartilage, such as Ehlers-Danlos syndrome or Marfan syndrome, that predispose them to early development of osteoarthritis. For our purposes, relieving the pain and limitation that come with arthritis, we focus on the actual sites of damage, the joints. Over the course of a lifetime, the cartilage that covers the end of the bone can begin to wear away. But cartilage is mainly inanimate. It is a lifeless product of live cells, like nails and hair. Just like hair, it is in a continuous production. And just like nails, the distribution and condition of the underlying cells determine the quality and elasticity of the cartilage. A good quality of viscous lubricating fluid bathes the joints, making its movement smooth and easy. A capsule of connective tissue encloses the joint like a gasket containing the joint fluid. Synovial cells at the inner surface of the capsule secrete the joint fluid. Another special layer of cell, the perichondrium, lives beneath the cartilage, between it and the bone. Replete with blood vessels, it serves to nourish the chondrocytes, the cartilage-producing cells that dwell within the cartilage. The cartilage itself has no blood vessels. Cartilage located elsewhere in the body, not at joints, has a pericardium on both sides. For example, in the windpipe, the perichondrium lines the inside as well as the outside of the cartilage rings. In contrast, joint cartilage is supported only from beneath, from the bones it grows out of, not from above, not at the actual point of bone-to-bone contact. Joint cartilage has no inner layer of supported cells, yet the inner surface of the cartilage is what actually comes in contact with its counterpart on the other bone, the part that sustains the pressure of movement. This cartilage may be where we need nourishment, and the building blocks for repair is the greatest. The joint fluid brings the essential supplies for nourishments and repair to the chondrocytes. The inner lining of the joints not only makes the fluid, but also delivers oxygen, glucose, proteins, and other necessities to the fluid and absorbs the products of their metabolism. The beauty is that their very movement that serves the joint's function also circulates the fluid that makes continued movement possible. Circulation is good for the joint. As Arthur Abramson, former chairman of the Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, was fond of saying, function breeds function. One thing that yoga does for sure is move the joints into extreme but safe positions, allowing the obscure corners and crevices of each joint to be awash with its lubricating, life-sustaining fluid. Without good circulation of the synovial fluid, the smooth surfaces of cartilage can fall into states of disrepair. The chondrocytes will not keep up with the pace of normal wear and tear. Fibers of collagen, which are what gives cartilage its elastic properties, are not replaced quickly enough, and soon the cartilage loses its supple resilience. The surfaces become rough and cracked, which lead to more wearing away. Naturally, other factors, including hormonal and hereditary factors, and the frequency, intensity, and pattern of use, overuse, and trauma are also at work here. All of these elements can add up to enough of a departure from a joint's normal or homeostatic condition to produce inflammation. It usually occurs without any infection, without anything actually breaking. This further compromises the cartilage and actually stimulates the bone underlying it. In response to inflammation and possibly in an effort to repair the damage, the ends of the bone might thicken and the bone might form outgrowths called spurs or osteophytes, which can interfere with function and give the joint an enlarged, knobby appearance. In joints between vertebrae at the cervical and lumbar level, these osteophytes can obstruct the openings through which the nerves exit the spine, causing neurological signs and symptoms. the appropriate yoga is also talked about for these conditions. As cartilage is worn away, bone rubs more and more against bone. Pieces of cartilage and bone can break loose inside the joint, causing the joints to catch and become stiff and noisy. If they are very active joints, such as shoulders or weight-bearing like knees, this condition, known as chondrocalcinosis dissecans, can be extremely painful. Osteoarthritis can affect a single joint or many. The most commonly affected joints are those of the knees, the hip, neck, lower back, fingers, and the base of the thumb and big toe. If anything good can be said for osteoarthritis, it is that the disease typically spares younger people, and its effects are confined to the joints. With some other forms of arthritis, this debilitating effect can come during what could be the most productive years of life, the peak earning and child-rearing years, or even earlier. In addition to their effects on joints, some forms of arthritis can also cause damage to the skin, eyes, blood vessels, and internal organs. So in class, we're going to talk about the different types of arthritis other than osteoarthritis. We're going to talk about the effects of rheumatoid arthritis, which can be devastating to some people because it's an autoimmune system disease. We're also going to talk about the spondyloarthropathies, which are conditions of the spine like ankylosing spondylosis, reactive arthritis, psoriatic arthritis. And we're also going to hit the subject of gout. And I know it's like gout is a disease that we haven't heard since the medieval times, but gout still affects people in our communities, in our world. And that's also a very inflammatory disease. So I'm going to show you about 20 postures now. We're going to talk also about the treatment of arthritis in class, and we're going to put postures together with some sort of a treatment base that they're going to go to their doctor and find out what they need. But the yoga is going to be our job. And so I'm going to show you what Lauren Fishman actually calls the all-stars of our yoga for arthritis. So when you see them, I want you to do them. Your assignments are going to be to make a little sequence of them and show them to me. Have a wonderful day and study, my dears. Study hard.